Hey folks, it's Nate. Thanks for joining me once again as we look to the horizon. And today I am back with another writing update that's going to be on the short side. Things are going pretty well as I am writing the Gospel According to Earth. I am 2.5 chapters ahead now. I think that's a pretty good spot. I'm looking to get 3 chapters ahead, and then I'm going to set that aside for a couple of weeks. And I'm just going to really bear down on the last little bits of Burning Bright that need to be gotten out. The final revisions and the formatting stuff, which I'm pretty much done reading up on. I found some decent sources to talk about there or look at there. Let me know if you'd like me to talk a little bit more about that. Um, I guess I could. I found it very dry and pretty uninteresting. It's for me, it's just a slog that I have to get through. So I don't know if there's anything really interesting or that I could add to it. But it is something that I have to do as part of getting this book out. So I'm looking at that. I am starting to reach out to beta readers. If I have asked you to test read in the past, expect an email from me sometime in the next week or so. Um, I know that this whole year has been kind of my pushing back the date. I hope to get this out, but I am now hoping to get it out at the end of August. As I said at the beginning of the year, I was setting the most aggressive and optimistic goals I thought I could get away with in an attempt to see whether I could or could not get something done. And clearly, I've hit a lot of snags along the way that are requiring more work from me than I anticipated. Um, there's nothing wrong with having very optimistic goals. And the key thing when you don't meet them is to keep in mind that, yeah, that was probably the best case scenario, and it's no surprise that you didn't hit it. It is always good to look for the perfect win. But don't get depressed. Don't get slowed down when you don't hit it. So right now, I'm trying to stay optimistic. I'm plugging away at the writing, and I am developing plans and putting them in place. And I'm not too upset when I don't survive encountering reality, because that is the way plans often go, unfortunately. So yeah, that is something that I hope to get done still this year, and I am grinding. I mean, it is a lot of it is just grinding, which is why these videos tend to be short, a lot of weeks. So beyond that, I have done a little more developing of other story ideas, which I talked about in my video where I talked about future writing projects. For the most part, though, I have just been kind of tinkering and editing ideas. I actually revised the outline for the Gospel According to Earth a little bit. I have, as I've been writing, I have found that there are a couple of things I think I need to add to make the threads of the story flow a little bit better. And this is something that I discovered after getting feedback from my editor on Burning Bright. I have a tendency to really take an axe to my outlines and cut as much as I think I can get away with cutting. And I did that with Burning Bright, and my editor said you need to put some of this stuff back in. So I went through and I did some revisions to uh, put back in a couple of the things I cut. However, however, in the process of putting them back in, as I thought about what I cut and why I cut it, I came to the realization that I thought I could make it flow a little bit better. And I don't think I'm going to put in as much as I cut. As I've said, I can kind of predict based on the number of bullet points in my outline how many words my story is going to be. I've gotten very good at predicting that over the last few years. And so a bullet point tends to equate to somewhere between 500 and 800 words. So when I made my last editing pass on the outline, I cut out probably 10 bullet points. And when I went back and I put in bullet points, I realized I could condense them, I could squash them together, and I could probably just put back in 6 of them. And or put back in the same amount of story in just 6 bullet points. So all in all, I think that revision will be for the better. You will see, however, there is a strong tendency in all writers to wool gather, to be somewhat introspective, or to talk a great deal about your characters and details about them that people don't care a whole lot about. And my hope is that by um, condensing these points, I will resist more the temptation to do a lot of the unnecessary kind of exposition that tends to work its way into every narrative, and instead focus on what is really interesting and really drives the story forward. Um, there should always be a dialogue between character, plot, and theme in your story. Uh, one of these cannot be superior to the other. I know there are a lot of people out there who call themselves critics who will put one of these above the other. They'll say theme is most important or characters are most important. Almost nobody says plot is most important for some reason because they're strange. I think plot is really important, and as I've said, I think they should all be in dialogue with each other. I don't. Whoa, I'm sorry. Sorry. I don't think you can elevate one above the other, but I like plot the most, and so I think it's very important. I don't understand those people who kind of look at it as the thing you can sacrifice the most. But I think that the story is best when all three are in dialogue. When your character, when your plot, and when your themes are all speaking to one another on the same level. Um, you're never going to get them perfectly aligned. Nobody, I don't think, has ever done that I can think of. Maybe if you can think of one, let me know. I would love to see something that people think is perfectly balanced in that sense. But um, when you revise your story to bring characters more in line with plot, or plot more in line with characters, or both in line with theme, I think all of those revisions are good because it brings these things more tightly together, and it makes their placement more deliberate, more meaningful, and more impactful for the reader. Of course, there are all kinds of considerations that each of those have that cut against each other, and it is the struggle of the artist to reconcile those things. But all in all, I think that if you are making changes to bring one more in line with the other, you are doing something good, regardless of which one it is, regardless of whether it's your plot, your characters, or your theme. You just have to be very mindful that a change to one kind of spiderwebs through all of them and makes a number of changes. So, yes, I have been revising my outline for the Gospel According to Earth. I think I'm getting things more and more in line. One of the problems, of course, of making revisions after you have already started is that you're going to have to go back and look at what you've already written to bring stuff in line. Obviously, the stuff that I already have out on the blog, probably not going to be updated entirely to reflect these changes in theme. This is one of the things that just has to be done in the deep revision stage, which is one of the things I've always thought about doing on my blog is, when I try and publish something, I will leave the rough up there, but it's going to be very rough compared to the hopefully much more refined final product I put out. Anyway, that's where all the writing projects are, along with a few rambly thoughts about revisions, which came out of nowhere. That's the way these things go. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that, found it interesting or useful. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. There's a like button and a subscribe button down there. You can use those as you see fit. I'll talk to you later.